Hello, good evening from our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Momodu Bailabare. In our headlines tonight, GTU advocates for rapid actions to resolve transportation issues between Gambia and Senegal. Startup Incubator Gambia Great Greenwall graduates first agribusiness and leadership cohort of 25. Combo East Youth and Children Development Association kicks off annual convergence to tackle gender-based violence. On the international news, Sudan civilians pick up arms as RSF gains an army stumbles. Niger engages in talks with ECOWAS regarding post-coup transition phase. DR Congo Archbishop says election process a gigantic organized disorder. Those were the headlines. And now the news in detail. Many thanks for joining us. The Gambia Transport Union of the Gambia, in a recent press briefing, disclosed its collaboration efforts with the Senegalese Transportation Union to address the prevailing challenges faced by the transportation system between the two nations. The partnership aims to tackle the barriers hindering the smooth movement of commercial vehicles across borders. As diligence during a press briefing, our Sane prepares this report.
The Senegalese authorities have allegedly imposed restrictions on Gambian vehicles, permitting them to transport passengers solely through the national bus company GTSC. This limitation flies in the face of both the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of people and the Interstate Road Transport Agreement established between the Gambia and Senegal in 2018. Such actions are deemed unfair and an impediment of regional integration. Omar Cisse, the president of the General Transport Union of the Gambia, expressed his discontent with the non-existence of ECOWAS protocols and the failure to implement the interstate road transport permit between the two nations. Despite having paid for the permit, the Gambia Transport Union has been unable to navigate the bureaucratic hurdle, severely affecting the livelihoods of drivers and passengers traveling to Senegal. Cisse called for unity among civil society organizations and Gambian residents, urging them to rally together to demand an end to the blockage that is detrimentally impacting the country's economy.
We understand the ECOWAS Protocol, Article 5, free movement of the... Yes, but within Gambia and Senegal, this not happen. Senegal have their own story, but we also have our own story. But for us, as a Gambian, any passenger commercial vehicle are not allowed to enter Senegal. And that is totally against the ECOWAS protocol. It's totally against the agreement between Gambia and Senegal by 2018 March. So, I don't believe our authorities will gather our taxpayers' money, organize a meeting, workshops, seminars, agree on something, they cannot implement it. Since 2018, up to 2023, how many years now? Over 5 years. So we feel that's not fair. So we think government needs to come out, exactly explain what is happening, so that we and users, we will know. Because why we have been saying this, we pay that capital to government already. Government have been taking our money from us as a driver. 2 years ago, those permits have been expired now, but still we cannot have even single trip to enter Senegal.
Gora Houma, president of the Senegal Transport Union, expressed that the issue stems from the governments of both countries rather than the unions themselves. He shed light on the underlying motive, asserting that the authorities are attempting to limit the benefits their respective populations received from each other.
Mais damay wax ne képp ku wax ne syndicat yi ñoo bañ waxul dëgg. Gouvernement moo bañ.
The fault is on the side of the Senegambian government because both are trying to fight each other's population from benefiting more from the other. We did several meetings regarding this, but if they agreed on the terms, then both countries will have been enjoying the free movement by now.
Laayu ñu syndicat yi kenn am benn moto bëgg ñëw Sénégal ñu dañuy laaj syndicat yi kooku caaxaan la.
Bella Sow, the Deputy Regional Secretary for Africa on the International Transport Workers Federation, also weighed on the issue, offering potential solutions to address the ongoing challenges.
Promoting some capacity building for our young workers in the maritime sector. We are giving them some financial assistance to increase their capacity, etc. But the main thing is we need to have strong union. We are working on it. Strong union capable to tackle all the key issues as lack of decent work, road harassment and illicit perception, insecurity. The road accidents are very high in Africa. Quality of the services. Sometimes you have some drivers in a dirty clothes. It's not good. We need to professionalize this job also.
The collaboration between the General Transport Union and the Senegalese Transport Union marks a significant step forward in rectifying the transportation issues affecting the Gambia and Senegal. Awasane for Star TV News.
Start Incubator Gambia, in collaboration with Great Green Wall, successfully concluded its inaugural cohort of 25 participants who underwent a rigorous 6-month training program on agribusiness and leadership. This marks a significant step towards addressing food and nutrition crisis while empowering vulnerable households to enhance productivity, income, and livelihoods. Mariam Adem has more.
In a groundbreaking initiative, Startup Incubator Gambia and Great Green Wall joined forces to nurture aspiring entrepreneurs through the Great Green Wall Agribusiness Incubation Program grant. The program, valued at $1.5 million, aims to eliminate structural barriers hindering food security and nutrition by equipping participants with essential skills and resources. Maimuna Jabi is the co-lead director at the Great Green Wall.
Happy to announce that you're the first cohort, but we'll be having a second cohort this January coming in North Bank again to ensure that more people are trained, because the first time we called for application, about 250 people applied. So I think we have done about just 10% of that right now. So we hope to do more, and every year we plan to run 2 cohorts and to have more people going. So for the next steps, we first have an agreement for you, because usually graduations happen before you get your funds, but you guys, most of you, at least 99% of you got your funds, and then you have even started working on them and implementing it. So we will do the signing of the agreement today.
Over the course of the 6 months, the cohort embarked on an intensive training program covering various aspects of agribusiness incubation, including personal development, agribusiness systems, business planning, marketing, financial literacy and projection, buying and stock control, leadership, and staff management. This comprehensive curriculum ensured participants were well prepared to navigate the challenges of entrepreneurship. Mohamed Danso is the programs director at Startup Incubator Gambia.
During this program, we've also been able to do lots of activities aside from the business plan development. We've done the hands-on training on how to really work on your business ideas to make sure they are viable, but also some trainings on financial literacy, financial management. We've also done buying and stock control, and I think this has come very handy when it comes to using the funding that I've been given to you. I am sure the reason why you've all been asking some of these questions regarding the receipting, regarding the invoicing, it's because as a result of the training that you've been able to do, especially on buying and stock control. Now I am confident that you all know where to buy, when to buy, and what are the factors to consider when you're buying equipment, but also when you're buying raw materials for your businesses.
One highlight of the program was the opportunity for participants to submit their business plans, enabling them to secure funding and kickstart their entrepreneurial ventures.
And one of the goals of the program was to ensure that all of you have a complete business plan by the end of the program. And I want to say that I was really impressed with the level of effort and hard work and dedication you've put in ensuring that you all have your business plans ready. After receiving all your business plans, I did an analysis of your business plans, and some of this analysis we will share with you after this graduation. But just to give you a snapshot of what I have found out is most of you, the industry or the sectors that you are engaged in is very competitive. Most of you are either into animal husbandry, into poultry, into fish, and these are areas where now we've seen more and more people coming into play. So you have to continue to be very close to your customers You have to understand what are the new trends in the market, what are their needs, what are they demanding, and you ensure that you're able to deliver what their customers are looking out for.
Ajat Ture, Pamodu Gay, Lamin Kinte, and other beneficiaries expressed profound gratitude towards both institutions for transforming their lives and granting them the chance to explore their potential in the world of business.
xam naa naka laa war a jëndee xam naka laa war a jaayee xam su ma amee xaalis naka laa ko war a spendee xam lan mooy family xam lan mooy business ak naka laa war a téye suma client lu may jënd naka laa ko war a jëndee lu may jaayee naka laa ko war a jaayee lépp xam naa ko.
kon man soolaatuma pour dem jàngi feneen ay 2 days workshop 3 days workshop ñu ma jàngal because lépp lu nga xam ne ni war naa koo xam si business tey xam naa ko so foog naa ne dama war a nekk koo xamante ne ni dama ut ay nit ñu ma jàngal dimbale leen coach leen ñoom itam ñu nekk entrepreneur comme ñun.
Working with startup since 2017 and I know the kind of training they can make. No, maybe more jama malum, but me I know and I impact menke in my life. So many people knows my business and where my business is because of Startup Incubator.
It is worth noting that the impact of this training program has surpassed expectations, as some participants have already begun employing people, demonstrating the program's tangible outcomes and success in fostering economic growth and job creation. The graduation of the first cohort sets a promising precedent for future endeavors in agribusiness and leadership development. By combining practical skill building with financial support, Startup Incubator Gambia and Great Green Wall have set the stage for a sustainable and prosperous future in the business trade, while simultaneously addressing the pressing challenges of food security and livelihood improvement. Maria Madam, reporting for Star TV News.
The Combo East Youth and Children Development Association has begun its highly anticipated annual convergence in Pirang Village, with a focus on addressing gender-based violence leadership and other relevant issues. Participants from across the district have gathered for this week-long event. Modi El Baji has the rest of that story.
The 7th edition of the Combo East Youth and Children Development Association Convergence has attracted approximately 300 young individuals aiming to address and find solutions to the challenges faced in their communities. The primary focus area include gender-based violence, leadership, and civic education. Abdullah Njai, the chairperson of the Convergence, highlighted inadequate financial support as a major challenge in achieving their objectives.
It is never enough for us because imagine 300 young people gathering them for a period of 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's definitely not easy. Yeah, but thank God with the little resources that we have, from the selling of our forms and also the small tokens that we used to receive from our partners used to go a long way, and this is what we managed for a period of 7 days. So I want to take this opportunity to call on different partners to, partner with KIDA because it is one of the best youth organizations in this country. We are practicing what it calls the real youth work at the community level.
Lamin Jame, the chairman of the Combo East Youth and Children Development Association, emphasized the organization's efforts to increase visibility. He commended the entities that supported the 7th edition of their convergence, recognizing the importance of their backing.
So KIDA has been organizing this for the past, 18 years. This year is also another major achievement because we have gathered young people across the country, I will say, because we have participants from as far as URR. Joining these organizations, or let's say joining such an initiatives, has impacted a lot in the lives of many young people. Some of us have learned a lot. Today we are working with our civil servants, but we are doing a lot in our workplaces because we have gathered much information, so let's say much knowledge from this kind of convergence. We're giving the opportunity back to the young people also to get more. So I'm urging every young person to associate themselves with this kind of initiative because it's only these initiatives we can better prepare ourselves for the challenges that we will be facing in this world.
Binta Jaju, the Speaker of the Welfare of Girls and Women, stressed the significance of the week-long gathering in educating young minds about gender-based violence, as the objective is to prevent the dangers and trauma associated with such violence among young women.
If you look at this gathering, it is one of the key things because looking at our thematic areas, we have a class that is the gender-based violence. So this class will help us to eradicate the menaces that we have when it comes to this gender-based violence, because most of them, they are not aware that they have been stigmatized, or sometimes the problems that they actually face. So this is one of the gatherings that we use to actually educate them, to sensitize them, for let these girls and then the young women that we have here to be aware of the things that they need to do in our society. So that is why we have so many thematic areas, but my utmost priority is the gender-based classes, because they have to know who they really are and they should be proud of themselves as a woman.
In addition to its impacts on participants' life, these activities will foster networking and unity among members and participants by working towards a better future.
Tradition rules and culture educate. The same God whom we await, he must be musical, tremulous and impressional.
Gentle influence of landscape and of sky, tender to the spirit touch of man's or maiden's eye, but to his native center fast shall fall into future fuse the past, and the world's flowing faith in his own mold recast.
For Star TV, I am Modu El Baji.
And that story by Modu Baji will take us to the break. When we come back, we look at news outside the Gambia. Welcome back after that short commercial break. For just tuning in, this is Star TV News from our studio here in Serekunda. We now take a look at news outside the Gambia. Joining the fight, young Sudanese take up arms as violence spreads across the country. Most civilians in Sudan are joining the fight against the Rapid Support Forces. It comes after the paramilitary group took control of the country's second largest city earlier this month. The army has retreated from Wad Madani. The UN says that up to 300,000 people have fled. Al Jazeera's Ibtisim reports.
Young Sudanese men raised their automatic weapons in the air as they joined the fight against the Rapid Support Forces. Some of them are just children. In videos circulating online, civilians appear to be picking up arms alongside Sudan's armed forces. New recruits forming a makeshift army, ready to replace a failing military. According to eyewitnesses, fighters from the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, have reached areas north of Sennar, a city where many of the displaced have fled to.
The mobilized individuals who answered the call of the army commander should be trained and armed under the control of the Sudanese armed forces to avoid seeing them converting into an independent armed group.
There have been reports that both the army and the RSF have forced civilians to join their ranks in the past. One thing is for sure, many Sudanese people have fewer and fewer options left: fleeing or fighting. Last week saw the fall of Wad Madani, Sudan's second largest city, now under the paramilitary's control, a turning point in the war. The army's retreat from the city left the country in a state of panic. As the RSF makes breakthroughs in the south, its fighters are reportedly stealing people's cars, cell phones, and raiding stores.
There is a massive movement as Rapid Support Forces advance on Wad Madani and other Sudanese armed forces withdraw from these towns, often without putting up a fight. The panic of the IDPs and the local populations in these areas tells us that the Rapid Support Forces have earned a reputation of plunder, of abuse, of massive repression against areas, population in areas they come to occupy militarily.
One of the few safe zones in the country, Wad Madani in Jazeera State was engulfed by violence in a matter of days. Up to 300,000 Sudanese have fled the city since the fighting began. As the RSF make more gains in Jazeera State, some are gearing up to fight with an army in disarray, while others try to escape, fearing they could be next. Ibtisam Genfood, Al Jazeera.
Leaders from a group of West African countries are negotiating with Niger's military leaders for the release of deposed President Mohamed Bazoum and a transition to civilian rule. Bazoum was overthrown in a coup in July and has been kept under house arrest since then. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris has more from Niamey, Niger.
5 months on, huge crowds still turn up in solidarity with Niger's current military rulers. Deposed President Mohamed Bazoum remains captive, and the junta shows no haste to come up with a clear plan to restore democracy. Both key demands of the regional bloc ECOWAS. Public affairs analyst Salisu Sadu believes the junta won't succumb to pressure from ECOWAS.
If we accept what ECOWAS want, it's meaning that we accept what France wants. And this is not the scenario we can accept.
He thinks it could be another 2 years before the current military leadership leaves power. Many here think ECOWAS' initial threat to use force hardened the junta's position and its supporters. They believe former colonial power France was behind the threat of force and the sanctions that are crippling the local economy.
ECOWAS is not only concerned about the possibility of more coups in the region, it's worried it could fragment. 3 member countries where the military is in power have formed the Alliance of Sahel States, and that's considered a threat to the future of the bloc.
But some say the Sahelian alliance won't work to Niger's advantage.
The junta has no capacity to continue defying the international community, considering its landlocked nature. If you rely on others for something, you'll eventually give in to certain demands.
An active civil society had previously forced past coup leaders to quickly return the country to democracy. Some analysts believe history will repeat itself if the current leaders overstay their welcome. But with the support Niger's junta currently enjoys after ordering France out, it's not clear if the civil society here will live up to their past reputation. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Niamey.
The head of the Catholic Church in the Democratic Republic of Congo has called the election process a gigantic organized disorder. Cardinal Ambongo says what should have been a great celebration of democratic values has quickly turned into frustration for many Congolese. 5 days after elections in the DRC, official results are yet to be announced. The presidential vote has been marred by logistical problems and concerns over its credibility. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soy reports from the capital, Kinshasa.
These Congolese are anxiously waiting for election results. Some took their prayers to church. They hope for a peaceful outcome. But across the DRC, there's a sense of uncertainty.
I witnessed the disorganisation and chaos. There is nothing good that will come out of the election. Machines were not working. The polls need to be cancelled.
Most of the people in this camp for the displaced in North Kivu's provincial capital, Goma, did not get to vote. Conflict in parts of the eastern region has been raging for many years.
I didn't vote because I'm from Rutshuru and they excluded me from these elections. I feel very bad. If we'd voted, we could have elected our true representatives. Now there is no one to protect us.
The Election Commission is compiling results and asking for patience.
The Commission is looking into allegations of irregularities that may have happened in polling stations. Some groups destroyed voting machines and intimidated election workers.
Back at the church, some worshippers blame the government for the chaos they witnessed. They say any outcome will likely be contentious. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Kinshasa.
The reports from Captain Troy brings us to the end of this edition of News Bulletin, but before we go, the main points again. GTU advocates for rapid actions to resolve transportation issues between Gambia and Senegal. Startup Incubator Gambia, Great Greenwood graduates first agribusiness and leadership cohort of 25. Combo East Youth and Children Development Association kicks off annual convergence to tackle gender-based violence on the international news. Sudan civilians pick up arms as RSF gains an army stumbles. Niger engages in talks with ECOWAS regarding post-coup transition phase. DR Congo Archbishop says election process a gigantic organized disorder. Well, that's it for this edition of today's news. Thank you very much for watching. Be patient and enjoy the rest of our programs. Until then, have a wonderful night.